Hey, music fans, and welcome back to Sound Lab Studios. We are going to be starting a new series today. This is going to be something different, something a little more out there, something that may not be for everyone. So, if my mom happened to click on this video, please go watch my Billy Joel series instead. We're going to be going through the 9 studio albums of British rock band Radiohead. We are starting today with their 1993 debut, everyone's favorite Radiohead album, Pablo Honey. And to join us on this series is my good friend Bryer from Bryer's Music Showcase. Bryer, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. For every budding music fan these days, of course, Radiohead gets mentioned quite a lot because I know they have a pretty devout fan base. People always talk so highly of them. And so eventually you kind of curiosity takes over and you decide, might as well check it out. And of course, the first album I listened to was OK Computer. It wasn't until I guess maybe a year ago I actually took out my CD copy of it and I re-listened to it, and that's when it finally clicked. Like you realize just how intricate and how great songwriting that they did. I've definitely enjoyed what I've heard from Radiohead. I definitely get the appeal. Yeah, I'm excited to kind of take a look at these albums and go more in depth and listen to some of these songs.
Here right now, they're just kind of presenting themselves as the world's quirkiest alt rock band. Like they're doing kind of the alt rock that was popular at the time, but they were going to do it a little bit different. Let's go ahead and get into some background information on this album. Background information.
So, talking about the history of this band, we have to go back to 1985, where we have 5 kids who went to the same school in Abington, Oxfordshire, England. And these 5 people were Thom Yorke and Jonny Greenwood and his brother Colin Greenwood. And you have Ed O'Brien, and then you have Philip Selway. And funny enough, they actually didn't really know them. They didn't know each other that well when they got together. They just kind of like thought, oh, I guess these guys seem cool. I guess I'll hang out with them. I'll form a band with them. And their first name that they had for a long time they were called On a Friday. And the reason why is because that's generally the day they had time to practice, was on a Friday. And so they kind of stuck with that name for a while. And in terms of influences, they were influenced by bands like Joy Division, R.E.M., U2, The Smiths, and then later down the line, they started taking influence from the Pixies. When it came to performing, they were kind of on and off because they were still in school and eventually they went to college. But they knew they wanted to make something. And in 1991, they signed them to the label for a 6-album deal. And once that happened, the band decided, I think it's best we change our name because On a Friday doesn't seem that appealing. And they chose Radiohead because it was from a Talking Heads song. It was from the album True Stories from 1986. They just thought that sounded cooler.
Look here on the back from the track listing. We're going to start this album off with a song called You.
So, yeah, I think this is a pretty decent way to start the career with. It's kind of a safe sound sort for them, especially what we know them later. But there's still some good things about it. I like how it's like the opening guitar melody. I think it's kind of a nice tone to it. And then eventually we got more electric guitars coming in, giving it a little bit more heaviness to it. And there's kind of an interesting drum pattern to it, which I also took notice. And overall, just has a very interesting vibe to it. It's a pretty solid start.
So I didn't really have any kind of preconceived notions for Radiohead when I listened to them. This was actually the first Radiohead album that I listened to. Earlier this year, my goal was to listen to more music that was not from the 60s, 70s, or 80s. So when I heard this at the beginning, and I heard that guitar, I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. I like the guitar riff there at the beginning. Doom 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 doom, and then the drums kind of pom 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 pom. Phil Selway is a really great drummer. I'm gonna say that a lot. And then I love whenever he hits the high note. I can't do it very well, but like that's the note he hits, and it's just like, oh, dude, that's pretty good. And the guitar playing, that's another thing I'm going to compliment on this album. The next song, now this is the one that everyone knows. This is Creep.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, everyone knows this one. You still hear it from like best songs of the 90s. This is generally the song that people point to when it comes to Radiohead. Funny enough, it was actually recorded in one take, basically, because the band didn't even know they were being recorded. They were just kind of rehearsing, but the producer just heard it, like, hey, that's good. And the band's like, really? This is good? But they kind of went along with it, and to kind of, I guess for the band to kind of fix it, they had Jonny overdub some more like heavy guitars to kind of overdub it, which is, that big sound, which is one of the best parts of the song when the guitar comes in. Yeah, it's just that's so good. This is definitely one of the best songs on here. Again, the guitar melody in the beginning just kind of it just really reels you in. It kind of sets the mood to the song very well. It's just this kind of very depressing sort of sound, but it just works. Good bass line on this one, which I really dig. Again, that steady beat from Selway, which is really nice. And this this song does kind of explain why the song was so big, because of course when the song came out, of course grunge and alternative rock was all the rage, and this song fit perfectly in that genre, in that group. And yeah, it definitely was no shock it became a big hit for them. Chorus is just very memorable and just kind of fit the mood of the 90s, of that dreariness. But it's just a really classic song, and yes, in my top 5.
Yeah, this amazing. I love Phil Selway, his drumming. He's just kind of playing the same thing, but it's so effective that the whole song is basically 4 chords, but it's a chord progression that I actually really like. It's kind of the same chord progression as the chorus of David Bowie's Space Oddity. They were accused of ripping off a Hollies song called The Air That I Breathe that uses the same chord progression, but the melody sounds completely different, and the Hollies won. So I have no idea, because those songs, other than the chord progressions, to me sound completely different. But I love the part right before you get to the chorus, right whenever Jonny hits the guitar, because he thought the song was too quiet. He's like, well, we need to add some noise to this. And so he like hits his guitar strings and makes like a and it's the funnest thing to watch whenever he does it live in concert, because he just like smacks the crap out of it. He's like, dude, it looks like he's crazy. But he actually was a composite. I think he studied composition in college.
I believe, if I'm correct, he was the only one who graduated college. Yeah. Everyone else kind of dropped out.
The bridge is awesome. When he hits those high notes, she's running out the door. And then it all just kind of drops out, and you can hear some piano come in there. When he goes back to I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo. And so the piano comes in, and the drums are kind of taking more of a backseat at that point. I think that they didn't want to be known as like the band that just did Creep, because sometimes if you have a huge song early on in your career, or like Boston, a huge album in your career, that can kind of kill your career. And I guess they didn't want that to happen to them. And so they, even at some points in their career, didn't play this song in concert. But later on, towards the end of their career, because I don't think they tour anymore, they ended up playing it again because they knew the fans wanted to hear it. It's their biggest song, and I can see why. It's their biggest song for a reason. But what do you?
Yeah, how do you? So, once again, good guitar intro, and this is definitely one of the more upbeat sounding songs. Like the past couple songs they were playing with dynamics a lot, but for the most part, it's kind of keeping it very somewhat low key. But you got the bridge section where there's a lot of weird noises in here, could be an indicator where they want to go. But I also mentioned the voices, again, kind of referencing the sketch they got the name of the album from. It's definitely the weirdest part of this track, but overall it's a very short and sweet song. Don't have too much to say about it, but it's just a very solid rock song, and yeah, I really enjoyed it still, so it's pretty good.
I thought this one was okay. Like, I don't hate this song. Some people think this is like one of their worst songs. I
I
think it's
wouldn't say it's
kind of
that bad.
more towards the middle bottom if I was
Yeah,
to rank all the songs on this album.
I kind of agree with that.
Mainly just because of that middle section where it gets really noisy. Like,
Yeah.
I know they get noisy sometimes, but this is like there's like the good kind of getting noisy and the bad kind, and it almost dips into that bad kind. Nirvana can use noise very well. Radiohead in this song, not so much. Again, I don't hate it. I think the guitar playing is really good, but it's solid. I'm not gonna like my score on this album isn't gonna be terrible because of this song. Okay, our next song, "Stop Whispering."
Right. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Again, I love the guitar melody of this one. And again, gosh, give a shout out to the bass playing on this one. Really nice bass line on this one. You still got a little bit of dynamic playing here and there, but it just comes together really great. And I gotta say, I would probably say this is probably my favorite Thom Yorke vocal on the entire album, especially when we get to the end. I think he really sells the lyrics really well. But yeah, I just like a lot of things about this one. It's definitely a highlight for sure. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
This is one of the big kind of hidden gems on this album. I don't
Yeah.
even when you watch people like rank and do a tier ranking on Radiohead songs, they put this one lower, and I'm like, this one's great. Like
Yeah.
I'd never heard of this song before, and it's one of my favorites on the album. Again, playing around with dynamics. They start out very quiet, and you just kind of get like the more clean guitar tone on here. I like the feel of this one. Really cool. One of my favorites here on the album. And now we get "Thinking About You." This is an acoustic number.
Yeah, so it's an acoustic number, but I actually did research that this is not the first time they recorded this song, and this was not how the song originally sounded like. Because I read this was on the EP Drill originally, and it was actually supposed to be it was originally a more faster pace, more rocky, hard rocker sort of thing. So it's definitely a nice change of pace, something a bit more acoustic on here. I think the melody was pretty nice overall. The feel was pretty good, and you still got little touches of electric guitar, just adding texture here and there. I will say it's probably my least favorite song on the album.
I like the acoustic vibe on here. I've actually listened to the Drill EP, but I don't remember the different version of this. But I thought it was a cool change of pace from some of the other stuff. I mean, it's one of the shortest songs here on the album. Okay, now we are going to get to the last song on the first side here of, well, I guess it would have been the cassette tape back in 1993. And that is the second single from this album, "Anyone Can Play Guitar."
Right. I can definitely see why they chose this as the second single, because it does have a sort of commercial thing to it. But musically, is again, you mentioned this earlier, but this one has that very heavy, distorted guitar intro. Caught me off guard is that the verses have a very moody vibe to it. And this is where I hear the Joy Division influence, because I'm a big Joy Division fan, and the verses definitely have a very close sound to it. It sounds like something from the Unknown Pleasure album from them. So that definitely caught my attention, because Again, I love Joy Division. But then when you get to the chorus, it switches up into something that has a more beat sound, which is kind of a nice juxtaposition of those two. Again, great drumming on here, and it's just a really excellent song, and lyrics is pretty cool too, because they're basically going after poser rock stars who are basically only in it for the image and the money and stuff like that. And at one point, Thom name drops a couple people that people are trying to emulate. Like I know he mentions Jim Morrison. But yeah, it's another great song. It's definitely another highlight for me.
I love this one. This one is really cool. It has kind of a noisier intro, but then you get that big drum snare. And then the bass, Colin Greenwood's bass when he goes boo-doo-doo, boo-doo-doo.
Yeah.
I love that intro, and I love the moodier verse. The verses kind of remind me of something that they would do on the Bends, their second album. The chorus is straight up this album, but the verses are a lot more moody and really cool with the bass. But I like the and then the guitar has like a and then like it kind of gets into he's doing like a groove, but then he switches up the pattern where it goes just like like a more straightforward drum sound later on. And I love the part where he says, "I want to be Jim Morrison."
Yeah.
And that's where in the music video, there's a lizard crawling around that says Lizard King on it. And they do a big shot of the lizard crawling around that says Lizard King on it when he says that. Now I've talked about what I like about the song. I want to talk a little bit about the most famous performance of this song, the MTV Beach House. Have you ever heard of what happened at the MTV Beach House with this song?
I think you told me about it.
So, it's funny. There was a 4th of July special that MTV put on where they got some of the biggest bands to come on and perform. Like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think, did it too. But they got Radiohead on there because Creep had become super big. And so they wanted Radiohead to perform 2 songs, Creep and Anyone Can Play Guitar. And whenever they were performing, they told them we're only going to do Creep because they also made them made them record like several different takes of it. And so they had kind of gotten pissed off by the time that they had done it, and the reporters were being a little snooty to them. And so whenever they got done recording all the photo shoots or the video shoots for Creep, they kind of talked to each other, and all of a sudden they started playing Anyone Can Play Guitar. And so the camera's like, oh, they said they weren't going to do that one. Let's start filming. But when they did it, they decided that they were going to change a few things. That first, when he was singing, he exaggerated the song even more than it already was and tried to make like big over-the-top facial expressions. And then when he got to the part about Jim Morrison, he added, fat, ugly, dead, like screaming into the microphone. And then by the end, he just like the camera does a close-up of his face and he just goes, ah! And just screams into the camera, throws the microphone down and jumps into the pool. And when he tried to get out of the pool, he was wearing like some weighted jeans, so he had trouble getting out of the pool. He tried to grab onto something. He almost grabbed a live mic and it almost electrocuted him.
Oh, yeah.
Ironic, because if that would have happened, then he would have only been known as the guy who did Creep.
Probably.
But they pulled him out of the pool, and that's known as one of the most famous Radiohead performances because they butchered Anyone Can Play Guitar on purpose because they were tired of all of the shoots they were doing for Creep. So that's kind of a funny story.
Yeah, we get a lot of those grunge acts trolling TV performances.
Like when Nirvana was told they had to lip sync, so Kurt Cobain just goes, oh, he like big glasses on. He puts the microphone up real close. Looks like he's drunk. He's like, with the lights out, it's this dangerous, and singing an octave lower. Really, really funny. Just because they told him they had to lip sync, and he's like, "Can I still do my vocals live?" And they did that. But anyway, that's the end of the first side of this record. The second side starts out with Ripcord.
Okay, Ripcord. Yeah. This is another really nice song. I really like this one a lot. Again, you got your guitar melody with some more great drumming. Again, some nice dynamics being played here, and it's fairly catchy too. I can't believe I don't think this was released as a single, but honestly, I can kind of see this one being a single because I just like again, it has a nice memorable melody to it, which I like a lot. And then good guitar solo on this one as well, and just some nice lyrics. Just another one of those songs about growing up, becoming an adult when you don't feel ready for it, and you just feel like you're just falling, and just so suddenly. But it's another really nice song. I think it's another highlight for me.
Yeah, this is another one I really like. This one, kind of like Anyone Can Play Guitar, this is another one that really rocks. Johnny's guitar is really good. I like the chorus, the no ripcord. No ripcord. Yep, another one of the highlights on the album for me. Next, we have, this is kind of an interesting one, Vegetable.
Yeah, we're not talking about the Beach Boys song. The
No.
Beach Boys is plural. This is singular.
Yeah, the Beach Boys one is weird.
Yeah. All right, so this one's not as weird as that though. This is another pretty solid track. Good, another pretty nice guitar work on this one. Again, going back to another moody feel. Some nice switch ups throughout the song. But I will say it's not really one of my favorite songs on here overall. But again, it's not bad. Just I think there's just other songs that I think are a bit stronger, but still decent.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This one's all right. I think the best part of this song is definitely the guitar solo, right? When he says, "You're going to pay," or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then Johnny gets a pretty cool guitar solo. But other than that, it's all right. It's still all right. Like, I'm also not like, oh, this song. There's another song on this album that I'm like, oh, this song. It's just one. But I'm not like that with this one. All right. Next. Prove Yourself.
Right. So I think I've read this is another song that was originally on the EP before. And yeah, this is another slower song, which kind of fits the tone because it's a very depressing song, for obvious reasons. But then again, I like depressing stuff, so yes, I'm fine with that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I really do dig this song quite a bit. It's one of those I can definitely see this. To me, it's like more of an honorable mention, but I still really enjoy it. Then some nice playing on here. Again, just a nice moody track to go with the moody lyrics. And it's not too long either. It's fairly short, one of the shorter songs on here. But I really dug this one, so I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like this one as well. I like the guitar intro. It had a pretty good melody as well, especially the bow, 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 da, da, and then the call and the response when you get to the chorus where it goes, "Prove yourself." Yeah, this one was pretty good. Next we have I Can't.
Right, so this we're kind of getting sensing a theme with these couple songs because we have a song again, kind of depressing song, but now we have another song tackling like having low self-esteem, which is pretty relatable. Probably my favorite part of this song is that I like the bridge part where again the bass playing is really more up front. I just think it's a really cool moment right there. But yeah, it's another song I really dig. It's pretty good.
Yeah, this is just Prove Yourself Part 2. There's not a lot that differentiates itself from Prove Yourself, and I like Prove Yourself a lot better. Like, even like you were saying, lyrically, it's similar as well. Not like I hate this song, but every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, this is, it's just the not as good version of Prove Yourself. And that's the thing. I feel like the A side to this record is stronger than the B side. The B side has a few songs that I really like. Ripcord is one. We're coming up to another one that I really like, but most of my favorite songs are on the A side.
Yeah.
Well, now we are going to get to. I never know how to say this. Is it pronounced Lurgee?
I'm assuming. Yeah, I'm assuming that's how you say it.
We're gonna say Lurgee.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna put a little asterisk there because I don't know how to say that. But that's the next song.
Yeah. So yeah, Lurgee. We mentioned I Can't as Prove Yourself Part 2. Well, this is basically Prove Yourself Part 3, because this is like some kind of trilogy they're doing. So this is more like self-deprecation sort of thing that they're going for in this one. And yeah, it's kind of, again, it's lyrically it's a very similar tone, but there's still some good things I like about it. Again, still have a nice melody. It's pretty nice. Mood's okay. It's a pretty solid track. Again, just doesn't really stand out to me that much. Again, don't hate it, but it's just kind of a song I'm like, okay, it's nice. Let's get to the last song now.
This was the song I was hinting at earlier that I don't like as much. It's my least favorite song on the album, and it's because I can never remember it. Like you were saying, it is Prove Yourself Part 3, but that's all I can remember is that it has a similar vibe. Like, I even listened to it right before we went on here because I know that's the one I can never remember, and I still forgot it. And that is going to take us to our last song, Blowout.
So yeah, this song definitely stands out from a lot of songs on here, because especially when it starts, you hear the guitar, it's like, oh, this is kind of jazzy now. It's very jazz laden, which I think is kind of cool. And Tom's doing a pretty good vocal thing he's doing here. And I'm just really digging the atmosphere of what they're setting up. And then you transition to when it really starts to rock out. It's like, okay, yeah, this is a good closing song over here. Again, the guitar work is excellent. Love the different switch ups they're doing on this one. It just leaves the album on a very strong note, and it kind of does make you excited on what they also have in store. So yeah, this is definitely a highlight for me. I really dug this one a lot.
This is the song that sounds the most like what they're going to be later. Way later, in fact. This song, you could kind of convince me that this song is on their album In Rainbows because it has a very similar vibe to the rest of that album. It feels kind of out of place on this album. Like, everything else is more alt rock. This has a jazzy feel to it, and I love that about it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of spacey, vibey. Perfect way to end this album, honestly. Even though it's different, like, it gives you something different and makes you excited to be like, for the next album, like, what are they going to do after this? Anyway, that is the end of Pablo Honey. Let's go ahead and get into our top 5 tracks on the album.
Okay, my top 5 songs. At number 5, I have Blowout. Number 4, I have Ripcord. Number 3, Anyone Can Play Guitar. And at number 2 is where I have Creep. And then my favorite song on the album is going to be Stop Whispering.
Oh, wow. Nice. Well, my number 5 is Ripcord. Number 4 is Stop Whispering. My number 3 is Blowout. Number 2, Anyone Can Play Guitar. And yeah, my number 1 is Creep.
That's interesting. I think we have the same songs except in a different order.
A different order. Yeah, those really are the 5 best songs on the album. But what score would you give this album?
Okay, so I kind of wrestled how I'm going to rate this thing. I'm still going to give it a very good score. Again, I think it's a very solid album. So for right now, I'm going to give this album an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay. Well, for being their first album and trying to take any bias from OK Computer or the Bends out of my head, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I think it's a solid album. Really great debut. Sometimes debut albums can be really good. Sometimes they can be really bad. I think this one falls in the mostly good category. And so I'm going to give it an 8. Like, it's got some songs that I go back to a lot, and not just Creep. I listen to Anyone Can Play Guitar a lot. Stop Whispering, Ripcord. But anyway, thank you guys for watching our first Radiohead review. We will be back next time for part 2, The Bends, which the next 2 are the ones I really wanted to review. Those ones are out of this world. It's kind of keeping some of the same alt rock energy, but really amping up with the kind of oddness and the kind of uniqueness and the experimentation. So excited to get to talk about that one. All right. Well, until next time, remember, music is art, art is expression, and that we are neither creeps nor weirdos. All right.
Me debatable. Anyway.
See you later.